I'm feeling better. I'm sorry that the venue didn't look good for your art. Are you still thinking about putting something there? Maybe something a little larger scale than you were thinking of? Or are you just blowing them off? I'd like to know. I wrote a new story about kookaburras, and miraculously, kookaburras came to my yard this morning as though in response. So I thought I'd read it and let you see the kookaburras and the kookaburra story at the same time. Good morning, my poppet. You must awaken and come with me today, and we must fetch something that brooks no delay. I blinked up at her sleepily. I had begun to feel slow and grumpy in the morning. My mother said it was just my age. Growing up too quickly sends you falling down, she would say indulgently, when I bumped my elbows or hid under the blankets in the morning. Whatever it was, it affected my mother not at all. She was still up with the birds every morning, and sometimes, like today, sitting on my bed at the first light of dawn. Must it be now, Mother? I groaned. So often she felt dawn was just the most pleasant time for doing something. So often it was not. It may be some time in the doing, so it is best to start early. You are getting older now, my dear, and I will not be here forever. You must begin to be responsible, too, to know and understand how our lives are built here. Come with me now. And so I came. We wandered aimlessly for several hours, from dawn until about midday. As the hours of the morning dragged on, I let my tongue slip and asked my mother what exactly we were doing. We are looking for a certain creature just now. That was, of course, useless. There were 100 creatures in the forest, and we would be looking for each one for a different reason. But my mother was as impervious to nagging questions as she was to my dragging feet. Why don't you use a finding spell to discover where it is? Wouldn't that be quicker? Nay, child, no magic today. Today is the day we show that we are right to use such magic in the first place. That silenced me, and it frightened me. I had not heard of a time we could not use magic before, and only then did it dawn on me that this day might be different from others. I asked no more questions for the remaining hours we wandered, instead concocting wild fantasies about creature-filled, magicless errands. I was not prepared, however, for the small, unassuming brown snake we eventually found. It slept on a rock out in the open, because despite its demure appearance, no animal in the forest would come near this snake. Its single bite was death. My mother had warned me strongly since babyhood to keep a wide berth to these creatures, yet her face lit up when we found it. No, Mother, you can't mean this. What will you do? She sighed. I must capture it and bring it to a certain place. Without magic? Are you mad? I was shrill, panicked. I felt like I did as a little girl when she used to go away at night and leave me alone. Alone. Without her. I never considered what the loss of this woman would do to me. Never. The thought alone was too much to bear. Would send me into a hysterical state. I negotiated. If you need a snake, why not a python? You could kill a python with a knife before it got to you. Not this one. This is madness. Suicide. My mother reached up and touched my hair gently. She was shorter than me now, since I had gone through my last growth spurt, but she still spoke to me like a child with a scraped knee. These are preferred, she said softly, and untied her rough skirt so that it fell to the ground. No, Mother, how can you do it? What if you miss? Like all choices in life, my child, there is only one chance to choose rightly. It is not the only one I have made where the alternative was lost. She kissed my stunned mouth and then moved with surety around the side. Her bare, weathered legs made no sound with her careful steps through the grass. She was down to a crouch before I saw what she was doing, her shadow facing away from the sleeping snake, and fairly jumped towards it. Her small, horned hand closed around its neck, just as it awoke to an awareness of her. It lashed and turned everywhere. Its tail struck her eyes and its body coiled around her arm. The most horrible of all was its mouth, gaping wide, fangs out. I fancied I could see the deadly venom forming a droplet next to my mother's index finger. So close, a fractional shift would have left them caressing in a deadly embrace. I could not move, transfixed by the snake's vicious expression. My mother lifted it high so that the terrible mouth almost grazed her shoulder and cracked the animal's face once against the rough bark of a grevillea tree. The snake went limp in her hand, its lethal grimace frozen on its face. Only then did I dare glance at my mother. She was calm and stern, her strained breath coming in between closed lips, contained, I broke then and dashed into her arms, sobbing. I could feel her heart rattling against her rib like a girl shaking the bars of a cage. But when she spoke, her voice was comforting me. "Shh, not so close, my angel," she said, only half returning my clinging hug. "It is not dead, only stunned. They will not accept it lifeless, for it may be broken in that case. Come now, we must hurry before it revives." She took my hand and began to run through the trees. After so many years, still I could not run like this through the forest. My mother moved as though where she was going was just in front of her nose. Still I needed preparation, and sometimes a lizard or the foul ointment to help me along. But without thought or time to focus her thoughts, my mother sprinted off towards her destination, never faltering, and it seemed the more urgency the quicker we got there. But now she arrested her movement at a perfectly ordinary-looking tree. She stopped stock still and listened frozen for almost a minute. Then she pushed me into a thicket, bristling with dead leaves and branches and totally obscuring my form. Without a word, she left me there and turned to the trunk of the tree. "Courageous I have shown myself, so death has passed me. And here I have delivered what you have asked of me. Observe the fruits of my travail and find me worthy, with strength, with wit enough to live among you, and strength to serve you." She held the stunned snake aloft between her two hands, out-taut so that its full length could be seen. For perhaps 10 seconds nothing happened, and then I heard the rustle of leaves high up in the tree. The rustle became more pronounced until I correctly recognized it as flapping wings, and then, as though brought into being by my recognition, a clutch of kookaburras fluttered down from the trees. There were 2 larger birds who seemed to take initiative, and 3 smaller, more juvenile animals. They settled on the gnarled branch like visitors at a fair, watching the wheel of life soar by them from a separate vantage point, removed from us all and superior. My mother knelt down before them, and they regarded her with their impassive faces. The forest is larger and deeper than I, and yet I know that I must try to feed it as it feeds me, to give it as it gives, the strength that comes from being strong, the sustenance to live. She bowed deep to the birds and laid the snake stretched out to its full length underneath the branch. She moved away on her hands and knees, back to the thicket where I hid. The kookaburra shifted position on the low branch with a flurry of motion. One stared attentively at the lip snake, while another surveyed the woods with its wide eyes, not directly identifying my mother, but passing its gaze over her as everything. The 2 dominant birds watched only each other in a preening way, attentive and caressing. They did not acknowledge the unconscious snake in any way, but waited. Soon it revived in the immediately alert way that animals do, lashing its tail once and then bolting for the underbrush. One of the 2 parent birds exploded into flight, straight down a bombshell dive, and for a moment I could see all the detail of its full variegated wingspan, the crisscrossing browns of a dappled forest floor, all woven together on the back of the small bird. Then it lunged and I could see only its beak, always unnaturally large, but somehow big as the world as it closed on the neck of the snake. I felt no sympathy or regret, for the brown snake was the only monster of my dreams. In any of the long grass in which I frolicked, these animals lay which could kill you before you could count to 100, and not even my mother's magic would save me. I felt only wonder how this bird, no bigger than the snake itself, betrayed no fear, and dove for it with almost lust. The struggle did not end with the snake's capture. It continued to thrash and crane its head back, surging for the killing bite. But our bird kicked up dust and grass in a seizing flutter. I could not exactly tell what was happening, what magic this creature used to destroy that which could destroy us all. But I saw its wings explode into frenzy once, twice, 3 times, while the snake's long tail whip-cracked in venomous desperation. It flung its large, noble head sideways, each time in a ruthless snap, and the snake's body lashed against the tree where the Kookaburra family mated and nested and reared these young ones in common. And then it was over. The brown, limp body hung in an asymmetrical arc, the kind of awkwardness wild things possess only in death. Then the Kookaburra gracefully settled among its fellows, with the pulverized snake hanging from its beak. The group of birds surrounded their champion and let out a mighty roar of victory. Coo, 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 ka, ka, ka. It sounded like laughter and joy at our deliverance. or the pleasure of the hunt, or the sensuality of the prey to be consumed. My mother joined in, standing now in pride. Her gift had been found worthy, and her side had won another day. She was as wild as the birds and as strong, had taken down the most dangerous creature in the forest with almost equal speed. She had not used her magic to do so, and yet I was sure there was some magic in it, a deeper magic which even my mother did not call by that name. There was a magic in it was something to do with the mystery of being herself, or of being these birds. There was a magic intrinsic to picking up your death in your bare hands, and knowing you would destroy it, and not it you. These creatures had it, my mother and the birds, and that was why they could laugh in the trees. The end.